it being the examining body, it has introduced what we're calling continuous assessment, which is there to assess students not only in 3 hours, but a student should be assessed from first year. It is a continuous assessment of monitoring of the students' progress continuously, which is a good thing. At least students do not have to gun in the last minute and study for the exams. That after writing that exam, they can't even remember what they had written in the exam.
And on continuous assessments, some stakeholders had this to say.
From the continuous assessment, this is now going to be helping us. One, to be gauging our material we are giving to the learners or the trainees, if they are really capturing what we are teaching them. So we are going to be those instruments of standards to be checking the performance of the students. So they work both ways, for the learners, also for the teachers and the management, to gauge, to see if they are able to answer the questions as we go by.
Continuous assessment, yes, is a positive move in that you can rate a student or a candidate on a long stretch, and some bad days will be made up by the good days, and at the end of the day, that individual will reflect the true picture of what they are, rather than only having one final exam. So yes, we'd like to welcome such a move.
In the last 10 years, with the support of government and donors, the TEVETA Fund was instituted and saw both private and public institutions accessing the fund.
In the last 10 years, some of the achievements that TEVETA has made through the Finance and Administration Division, one, the creation of the TEVETA Fund. That is, I think, our biggest achievement, not just for the division, but for TEVETA as a whole. The TEVETA Fund basically is there to provide training. We buy training services from training providers on a competitive basis. So that means that it's been open to all training providers regardless of ownership. And at the moment, the TEVETA Fund is not as functional as it was. It has taken a new dimension. We are basically now dealing with public training providers only. But one of the things that we've been doing over the years is monitoring the provision of training, and also ensuring that the training that we have paid for is actually what is provided.
The fund saw support from a number of donors that included the World Bank, the Danish government, and the Kingdom of the Netherlands.
Now, over the years that we have supported TEVETA, or at least that we have supported the training sector, we think that there are a few or a number of achievements that have been scored by TEVETA. One achievement which I would particularly like to mention here is the fact that I think that TEVETA has performed extremely well in publicizing the TEVETA sector, in providing information on the developments within the sector to the general public.
In 2009, the Learnership Scheme was launched. The Learnership Scheme is a system that referred to a dual mode of training that required a trainee or learner to have part of the training in a classroom and another part at a workplace.
TEVETA Learnership Scheme is a dual mode of training where instruction is done jointly between a training institution and an employer. The employer and the training provider would go into an agreement where they enroll students, and then they follow a formal training program where sometimes they go into a training institution, they are inducted or given instruction in that particular course that they are pursuing, and also they are given time to go and implement what they have learned in a training institution in a formal work environment, so that they try and relate the theories that they are learning in a training institution. So a TEVETA Learnership Scheme basically is one way that we have managed to forge these linkages between the training system and the work of the employer requirements.
What is the general view and the importance of TEVETA?
I think TEVETA has emerged as a very important institution for us because firstly it has brought a lot of order and a lot of structure to tertiary education in Zambia and vocational training as well. I think previously we had the proliferation of various fly-by-night institutions, and we didn't seem to have a structure and direction to what was happening, and all manner of institutions were emerging. With the emergence of TEVETA, at least we've seen some order established there. We've also seen attempts to create a coherent policy for technical and vocational training, which we feel is very key in an economy. There's always emphasis on the academic training, and I think we have enough academic institutions in this country, but I think this focus by TEVETA on technical and vocational training has brought a fresh look at what the economy requires in this area. So we are very proud of what TEVETA is working on, and we just want to help the institution further its objectives in this area.
I can only wish, as I said earlier on, good luck to TEVETA. They are doing a recommendable job. As I said, without TEVETA, I would have a situation where the student finishes their grade 7 or grade 12, as the case might be, then they would sit back at home. Not all students who make it to the university. We have very few universities. And if we didn't have skills and tertiary training as TEVETA has provided, we would have our young men and women roaming the streets.
Another scope by TEVETA was the introduction of the trade testing, which aims to broaden the access to the TEVET system.
Trade testing system is a system where anybody who have acquired a skill in whatever setting, whether informally or formally, they are trade tested, so that at the end of the day they are issued with a qualification which they can go and flash, whether it's in employment or even when they employ themselves. Now, the trade test system is such that it has 3 levels. Level 1 being the highest, then level 2 and level 3 being the lowest. Now, who is eligible to sit for trade testing? Under level 3, this is open. Even someone who has not been to any school, but as long as they can exhibit a skill, or take, for instance, they've been working with their guardian or their parents in the backyard